Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another free-to-play tips video, basically. And I've been asked here and there, how do I progress so fast on the GoTanks account? This account I started at the very beginning of 2024. I have 4.7 million GP, just under a year and a half, and I have on this account now Executor, Leia, and Java. And a lot of good core teams. I'm not drowning in stuff, but I will sometimes get accused of spending money. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I just don't. Like, that's not how I'm playing the game. So I want to show you all the things I do to try and stay ahead of the curve and get as much as I can out of the game completely for free. Now, the first thing I do to stay ahead of the curve, and I've done from the very beginning of the account, it's a good idea for any account of any development level, is focus on ships. And for a new account or even big game account, especially the Galactic Republic fleet with the endurance. So anybody and everybody gets the endurance. Whether you just choose to build it up a lot or not is up to you. Negotiator takes a little bit more investment, and honestly, endurance I use a lot more. To this day, I'm using endurance in my fleet arena shard, and I am number one for right now. My payout was 3 hours ago. I don't always climb through Leviathan. It's actually very hard to beat, but I can beat it. I can also beat Executor. I can beat other Galactic Republic fleets. I don't see them much, but this fleet has everything. It's very easy to farm. It's pretty good characters outside of ships, but even if they're not great characters outside of ships, it doesn't matter. You still need to focus on ships. That's where you get your crystals. That's the engine that runs every farm you do in the game. That's how you get all your different energies. Plo Koon, I got him to gear 11 pretty early. I don't really use him in land. It's all about ships. And what's also great about Galactic Republic, you're starting out with the fleet right away, so you have it right away. It's just a matter of improving it. It's a lot of single pilot ships. You have the Y-Wing, which is a pilotless ship, which is also very effective. And then Marauder, which you should always start farming as soon as possible. I started farming it on this account at level 72, but this is the driving force of the fleet. This is what allows you to beat Executor, whatever it is. So it's been probably about a year now, or over a year now, that I've been getting top 5 in Arena, and it has just supercharged the account. Fives is someone I don't use the 501st team. Like, I don't use that clone trooper team, but I still built up fives because he has a good ship. So ships are top priority because of all those crystals. Your squad arena, you could care less about it, or couldn't care less about it, honestly. But yeah, getting all those extra crystals is a game changer. Even rank 6 to 10, you're getting half as much as when you get to 1. So getting top 50, you're only getting 50. So ships first and foremost. The next tip you should follow as soon as you can is join an active guild. It doesn't have to be a huge guild or a super competitive guild. Like, you don't have to be in a 400 million GP guild. Even a 100 million might be fine. The most important thing is they have as close to 50 members as you can get, and they are daily active, or they are active daily, and they're getting their raid tickets. And honestly, you don't need to join a guild that's pushing forward the current raid. Right now we're in Battle for Naboo. We're going to be doing the Order 66 raid soon. I don't think you need to focus on any of those. I think you need to try and get in a guild that's running the speeder bike raid and getting at least 3rd box. This box. So after that, the only increases you're getting, well, they start to increase the Mark II tokens on these, but see the increment. So after this 3rd box, 9,700, the only increase 125, 250 from there. This is all you need. It's a huge increase, or a decent increase from the 2nd box, 1,300. From this 1st box, you're getting a lot less of everything. But I think this is mostly what you need to focus on. You don't need the tier 3 currency that you get in Battle for Naboo, or whatever the preeminent raid is. This stuff is nice. Honestly, it is not super mandatory for a new account. Like, it's great if you're getting it, yes, but you need to focus more on these two. This will help you get all the way up to gear 12 in most cases, and this will help you get from gear 12 to gear 13, which is the important thing. This helps you get to high relics, which is important here and there, but you can pretty much get it any other way. The only thing you need to worry about is arrow magnifiers, really, with that. But yeah, there's a way around it, and just, you know, get a guild that is active and not trying to push you to do more than you need to. Other stuff, you know, TW is nice, but the rewards are kind of lacking. Territory battles also pretty good, and that will help you get to the negotiator if you're shooting for it. But the big thing is raids for all that gear, just active and running a decent raid. The next thing I do as a small account trying to grow quickly is I focus on PvE content. Conquest, a little less impactful at the beginning, but especially for an account starting out, you want to make sure you are getting as many assault battles, especially to challenge tier 1, as you can. These assault battles are giving, you know, a little bit of stuff on the easier tiers. Once you get to challenge tier 1, which sometimes you don't even need a relic character, often one relic character is enough to carry you through, you're going to start getting Chirotech, which is huge for your account. Every new character after like 2019, which I know it's hard to tell which ones are old or not, pretty much every new character requires Chirotech to get to gear 12. And then we also get these finishers. You know, if you're getting like 6 or 7 assault battles per month, you're not going to notice it, but these are going to start piling up. And then when it's time to take someone to gear 13, this will be one less piece you have to worry about. Zeta is huge. Challenge tier 2 and 3, very nice. Challenge tier 2 is, it's a lot more obtainable. Challenge tier 3, I probably wouldn't worry too much about it, but trying to spread out as much as you can with these assault battles. You require different factions, and there's ways to be efficient about it, but you know, we got a Rebels assault battle. We got one for Jedi, one for Empire, Bounty Hunters and Imperial Troopers, Sith. The Inquisitors probably hold off on, and this one you can kind of squeeze by with Phoenix a pretty good while. Duel of the Fates is a bit of a intermediate assault battle, but also really good value there. Actually incredible value. You're getting tons. You have to get 2 characters only to relics. You don't need any other characters, so it's fantastic. You also have Perugia Patrol, which is similar rewards too. So those are just fantastic. And an efficient way to go about farming these assault battles is to kind of min-max them, get the maximum output you can from the minimum input. Such as there are some characters that are going to fit 2 buckets. So you need Empire for Force Moon and Sith for Place of Power. Who's a great character for that? Darth Vader. Darth Vader is not the best endgame character in the game. He's not super relevant anymore, but he is super relevant at the beginning because he will carry you through at least challenge tier 1 of both of those assault battles if you have him under a Palpatine team. Another efficient team is Phoenix that you could use for Secrets of Shadows, specifically limited to Phoenix or Night Sisters, and you could also use them for military might as Rebels. Another great min-max team is Imperial Troopers. You can use them Rebel Roundup. It's explicitly limited to Imperial Troopers, or Force Moon, which is Empire. Now, I would say go for a Palpatine Vader team or an Imperial Trooper team, probably not both. I chose Palpatine and Vader because I'm getting 2 done that way. You can also run Bounty Hunters here, so that's one way to do it. And a lot of the teams you use to try and farm these up are old characters, and I referenced that already, but a good way to tell what characters are old, or at least have gear requirements like they're old, is you go to their page on SWGOH, you go to gear list, and then you look for Carbantes. If you see, or not Carbantes, Chirotech. If you see Chirotech, any Chirotech listed at 100, that's an old character, because that means they only need Chirotech to get from gear 12 to gear 13 in their finisher piece. New characters are going to require a lot more than that. For example, Admiral Raddus, a keystone character in an Imperial Trooper team, which you could use for 2 different assault battles. He's a newer character, and he requires 150 of this type of Chirotech and 250 of this other type of Chirotech. What that means is the one that requires more is used for his gear 13 finisher, and otherwise each piece of Chirotech takes 50 salvages, so he requires 3 different Chirotech pieces to get up to gear 12. And that's just a particularly difficult piece to farm because you only get 1 salvage at a time as opposed to 2 for all this other gear like Carbantes, stun cuffs. You're getting 2 at a time. So focusing on old characters, pretty good idea. And by the way, a lot of those Galactic Republic fleet pilots, old characters. Anakin, Ahsoka, Plo Koon, Mace Windu, and General Kenobi. All old, don't need any chirotex. Bad Batch, that's another story. It's a difficult farm, and I understand why people are hesitant to do it, but it's well worth it. You definitely need to go about doing that. The next thing I'd say is get every reward you can. Like, don't turn your nose up at this just because it's not a lot. You know, that Omega is going to go pretty far. You never can get enough credits. Like, always take the rewards you can get. And that includes trying to go for the highest reward crate you can in Conquest. Even if you're not super into the new Conquest unit, if you are in hard mode, you should push for red crate or at least second crate, because if you don't finish that character within like the 6 months you can with the second crate, you're going to have to wait for over a year for them to get to Proving Grounds. And that just takes forever. Also, even though, you know, I kind of turned my nose up at Squad Arena, you do get some rewards from this. Early on, it's actually kind of important to try and get as high as you can in Squad Arena, just to get as much currency as you can. It's not a huge difference, so it's not a big deal. But just the spirit of getting every reward you can. Use your Bronzium points, or your Ally points, buy Bronzium packs with them. Don't spend the big bulk amounts in the weekly shipments. Get an auto clicker or something. Use all the ally points on Bronziums. You're really going to build up your shard shop currency. And in the spirit of getting everything you absolutely can, be sure to check out the Galaxy of Heroes web store every day before you log in to do your dailies. You can get a free... I guess I've already got that one, so I can't claim it again. But you get a free chest, which usually has some energy and some character shards. They have these bonus calendars here and there. And you got a link in the game to like an EA account or something. I don't know all the ins and outs of that. It's been a while, but make sure you're checking out the web store. And they also have the Kessel Run, which you want to make sure you're checking out. Because at the very least, each day you can get this reward where you're going to get 100 energy. So that is nice. And these little Kessel Run things, they don't seem like a lot. They don't seem to add up very fast, but eventually you'll get rewards along this track. And you'll get some crystals for free, and you might get some energy here and there. I forget where. Like, sometimes I get... Yeah, I already got it. So 200 normal energy, 200 Cantina energy. I typically get once a month, which is fantastic. There's extra rewards if you spend money, but for free, just make sure you log in and snag those. Now, speaking of energy, it's important to use your energy wisely. The first thing you should be doing each day when you farm is hitting up the ships and characters that you need the shards for your next big farm, or the one after that even, and I'll talk about that more in a second. But I have squad loadouts. These are the ones I'm farming with normal energy, and those are long roads to farm a character up from scratch. In my favorites, I typically have characters that I'm actively gearing up. So I have Mara Jade already at 7 stars. I'm gearing her up, and it just depends. Like, if you could put your farming characters in the favorites, but if things start piling up, it gets a little messy and a little hard to keep track of. But after that, you want to pick a good gear node to farm. So once I farmed all my character shards for the day, my node of choice on this account, it will be for the longest time, I don't know when I'll stop doing it on this small account, is Lightside 7B. You're going to get one of the Chirotech pieces, the Shock Prod, and you're also going to get this piece, which is good for Bronziums. This you convert into Bronziums too, and lots of little gear is a good thing to look for. Another node I'll farm from time to time are Lightside 1C or Lightside 1D, and that's for carbonite circuit boards. But those are typically the only gear nodes I'm farming. As far as ship nodes, there's a couple I'd recommend. It's in Sector 2 and 3. I'd recommend farming this piece because it is the most used Gear 12 Plus piece in the game, and it also has 3 other pieces, some that you can convert into Bronziums or Carbonites. Another option is this one. So this is similar value, like with the 3 extra small pieces and the 1 Gear 12 Plus piece. This is also a very popular one. So I recommend these two as opposed to something like the Stun Gun node. See, this is only 1 extra piece of gear, and that little gear adds up. So you don't want to ignore any sorts of income with whatever resource you're using. With the resources you're using, you want to maximize the resources you're getting. That mainly applies to you mainly have flexibility with that with your ship energy and normal energy. Cantina, it's either like a character or signal data, and that's basically all there is to it. It's pretty simple, but with those normal energy, you really want to be choosy how you're using it and try to get as much energy as you can. And to me, it's so obvious, I hesitate to even say that because I always forget that it's not always obvious to everyone. You want to use 3 refreshes a day for each piece of energy. I use 3 normal energy refreshes, 3 cantina, 3 ship, so I'm at the 100 now because I already used the 350, and especially 3 mods to build up those that mod inventory, and that's just a discipline thing. There's no shortcuts there, really. You might ask, if you don't have the crystal income, you might say, how the heck are you supposed to do that? Well, it goes all the way back to ships. That's why you need to focus on Fleet Arena first, and then you get the energy, and everything stems from there. And so far, I've only really been talking about resources. This is a Star Wars-based game. This is a character-driven game, and you're trying to get the characters. But the bottom line is it's all about resource management. You will get more characters faster if you focus on characters that will get you more resources. That's why we go to the assault battles and everything. And the min-max with the Darth Vader, Empire Sith, valuable tags. Jedi Luke, I don't recommend getting him just for the assault battle. He's just good on his own and part of a farm for Java for me is why I got him, but that's a ancillary benefit there. Captain Rex, that's why he's so fantastic with Phoenix. Rebel Clone Trooper, so he's even more versatile than most of the Phoenix because he has a Clone Trooper tag. But you want to pick those resource generating teams first, and I've focused on most of those already. After that, you want to pick a big farm, and that's why I went for Leia first, because she can just bludgeon her way through everything in the game, basically. I 3-starred every single proving grounds with her very easily. And she has a little bit of extra resource income with her Endor event. Endor Escalate, there's something. Jabba is also very notorious for having his fantastic Smugglers Run 2, which generates more mods. So that's how I picked those first 2. And that brings me to another point of something to not really do if you're trying to grow quickly. At the very beginning, and I know I focus on GAC a ton on this channel especially, you don't need to really worry too much about GAC in the beginning, Grand Arena Championship, because you're just going to be facing super outsized opponents. The last few times, I don't know, the past million seasons, all I've been facing are enormous players. So let's look at the ones right around me. So this guy, 9.9 million, right below me. 6.9 million, still significantly bigger. 7.7 million. They all have huge rosters, tons of GLs. You're not really going to compete with that. The only time you're going to really benefit from doing well in Grand Arena is if you get to Kyber. So if you get to Kyber, Kyber 1, even down to 4. Well, this shows the contrast. So Kyber 4, you get 200 crystals a day. Kyber 1, you're getting 260. And then for a win, on Kyber 4, you get 675. Kyber 1, you get 900. So on my main account, this is a huge source of crystal income. You get the same amount for like the rank you get within the weekly rewards for doing like the best of your bracket. Like if you sweep whatever league you're in, you're going to get 750 crystals. That's nice. But the crystals are kind of pitiful outside of Kyber. So I'm in Chromium 3 getting 115 a day. And for a victory, I get a measly 290. So you're not getting too much of a return on your investment for focusing on GAC early. So really focus on that PvE and get those rewards you can. And even for your big farms, focus on what resource return you're going to get. A lot of new accounts focus on Executor first as their first big farm, and I can't completely fault them for that because ships is super important. However, I just think going Galactic Republic is best because you can start with the fleet you're going to end with, like you're just building up the same fleet, and you get there faster. Like I started to get to number 1 way before a lot of the people in my Fleet Arena Shard or even getting Executor. And even now that I unlocked him, or the Executor, I still have to spend tons of crystals to get to 7 stars to actually be its best self, its best, most competitive version of itself. And it doesn't actually get me more resources now. Right now, the only value add this is to my account is a Grand Arena, either defense or offensive team, and that might move me up a league or two at best. That's optimistic. And as I showed with crystals, I'm not getting too much out of that in the end. So yeah, a succinct way to put it, what I've just been describing is understand the return on investment that you're going to get from your farm. Like, I know I'm not going to get a ton out of Executor, but it is important I have it, and my fleets are a little bit too shallow for a Grand Arena. I have most of my Assault Battle stuff done. I'm working on a few things, like I'm starting to farm up these Peridia characters for the Peridia Assault Battle, but I already have Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan. And they give me fantastic Assault Battle rewards, and then I'm working on those other 3. And then I'll be pretty good to go, and then it's the time that I just focus on Grand Arena, because I'm not getting any extra rewards from farming PvE characters. Another little thing, get the Padawan Obi-Wan, Omicron, the Obi-Cron. It is fantastic for Conquest. It makes Conquest on my small account almost easier than my main account, because it's so good. I've talked about it in other videos. That's all I'm going to say on that front. Another reason I think that people feel like I farm things very quickly is I'm always planning very far ahead on what I'm going to be working on next or after the next big farm. For example, I knew that after I finished Galactic Legend Leia, I wanted Jedi Knight Luke, and I had most of the characters ready for Luke. The biggest obstacle wasn't relicking characters. It was getting a 7-star Millennium Falcon. So I knew that I was going to have to work ahead of time on getting a Millennium Falcon because it required 7-star bounty hunter ships. And all of these except the Razor Crest, we got Cad Bane, Boba Fett, or Boba Fett's a little easier, Houndstooth, and IG-2000. How do you acquire them? A single hard node farm for each one. So you spend 100 energy, you got 5 attempts, you might get a shard or 2, but they take forever. Ship farms, hard node ship farms, if you just do one refresh, it takes like, if you don't do any refreshes, it takes like 7 months. Doing a refresh can cut that time in half, but I needed to start farming those shards months and months ahead of when I knew I actually needed to get Jedi Knight Luke. I wasn't worried about almost any of his requirements because I knew, you know, a relic character is relic character. Once you get them to gear 12, the requirements are similar among all of them. So getting any one character to gear 13, it might take a few weeks or a couple weeks. And that might be at the expense of something else, but you don't need to be planning ahead specifically for that character forever. What you do need to plan ahead on is those shards. And ships are not accelerated. They're probably never going to be accelerated. It's 1 drop, 1 shard. For old characters, it's 1 drop, 2 shards. So way, way fast for characters and ships. You always got to plan ahead. And that's why right now, I don't really have super high plans to get Jedi Master Luke, but I know I will eventually. And the only hard node farm I need is Mon Mothma. So this is a hard node farm. Everything else I'm going to need for Jedi Master Luke is pretty easily accessible otherwise, especially if the characters are farmed with currencies. And that's yet another reason Galactic Republic Fleet is so good, is you can farm most of them with just Galactic War currency. It's amazing. So Obi-Wan, Old Ben, I already have him 7 stars. Chewbacca is already 7 stars and relics. I just need to bump him up. All of these I have at 7 stars. It's just Mon Mothma. So even though I'm not planning on knocking that on the door to Jedi Master Luke anytime soon, I want to be ready for the time I do decide that. And that's also Jedi Training Rey. I know I need a bunch of Resistance characters for her. I need Finn and OG Rey and the Smugglers and BB-8. And for BB-8, I need something else. I need First Order characters. So all this, you got to know ahead of time. I can't, if I were to get to the point where I really want JML soon, and I haven't looked ahead or anything, that's going to really extend the time frame. So it might seem like I'm going very fast, but I really just planned far ahead. So in conclusion, to sum up, the big tips are focus on ships, especially the endurance in the Galactic Republic fleet. Join a good guild, but more importantly, an active guild. Prioritize PvE events. Conquest is, kind of the generalist thing. Galactic challenges too. The assault battles. Min-max, focus on characters and teams that are going to get you multiple, like Darth Vader. Super valuable early relic because he carries you through 2 challenge tier 1s. If you do it well, I have videos on those. Just look them up. Get all the rewards you can, including the web store, the Kessel Run, and the PC client. If you have a PC, there is a free pack. I already claimed it for today, but it's in the store. You get a little bit of goodies here and there. Understand your ROI. Understand your return on investment. What are you getting out of that farm? If you already are getting number 1 in fleet, Executor isn't going to add too much for you. It might help ensure you against the future, but it's not getting you anything super great right now. That's why I put it off. And then plan ahead, especially ships. Ships, you cannot rush your way through. I've been farming punishing one way ahead of the time that I actually get Executor, but I knew I had to, and it's still going to be a long road ahead. So those are mainly the things that help me grow quickly on this account. It's not the quickest in the world. I'm sure other people are going more quickly, but this is very public, and that's why I've tried to document it week by week. If you're curious about how my journey has gone on this account, I have weekly updates. So go back and check those out on the playlist Go Tanks Free to Play. And when I hit a new milestone in a new event or a character unlock, I have extra videos for those as well in the same playlist. All right, well, thanks so much for watching. I hope this helps, and I hope this helps you grow a little bit more quickly. All right, thanks. Bye.